You mentioned the study that you did as far as Notre Dame's running game versus what BCS teams' running games look like. You're bringing in Frank and making him the running game coordinator. What specifically, what are some of the ideas that maybe he has that close that gap?
Well, the first thing is when you bring somebody in with his experience, which is extensive, that's an outsider, not an insider. I think that they could be objective into, you know, the pros and cons of the things you do well and the things you don't do well. I think sometimes when you're looking at your own stuff and say, well, you know, if the running back would have cut there, we would have gotten a couple more yards, or if that guy would have blocked that, we would have gotten a couple more yards, but they didn't. You know, and the bottom line is whether they do or they don't. You know, but you look at our rushing average, I think it was 3.3, and most teams on the championship level are over 4.6. You know, that's 1.3 yards a carry we're talking about. We're not talking about, you know, a half a yard now. So, you know, that's obviously an area of concern on my part, and an area that I drastically think has to improve if we're going to play, you know, championship caliber football.
How much of an advantage was it to be up there schematically and to be able to see?
Oh, it's much easier, but here is the major problem, and it's the dilemma you face when you're asked with this question. Realistically, as a play caller, you can call the game very easily from the field, just as long as people are feeding you from upstairs on stuff, not to let's do this, let's do this, let's do this, let's do this. Okay, so anytime when, like for example, when I was in New England, I had a guy by the name of Jeff Davidson, who's the offensive coordinator for the Panthers, who was in that role. You can't have more than one person doing that. Okay, let's do this, let's do this. So it's very easy to call the game from the field when you have somebody who you and him were already on the same page with. Okay, so that's the reason why it works when you're on the field. Okay, as far as as an offensive coordinator on your own, I mean, you can see everything before it happens. I mean, it's because you can see it happen before it happens. You know, whereas on the field, you can't see it happen before it happens. You see it as it happens. So therein lies, you know, the greatest advantage of being upstairs. You know, downstairs is more practical as the head coach. You know, upstairs is more practical as the offensive coordinator. So the question then comes, you know, which one wins out, and can you find that chemistry that I was talking about with somebody, you know, that can feed you? Because if you can, then the best answer would be to be down on the field.
I presume that your wife's desire to talk about you coaching up in the booth she's looking out for your health and well-being?
No, she saw us score a whole bunch of points against Hawaii. I don't think she's worrying about my health.
So she's prioritizing that.
You know, I think that she just wants to win football games, and she's like every other fan. You know, just what have we done for you? What have you done for me lately? And that seemed to work. So, you know, what do you think? What do you think? You know, so for all you people all your readers or followers that are going to follow up from this press conference, just so you know, the more is right there with you.